Hello everyone, welcome to the Evil Empire. I'm your host, Evil Empire, and this week's feature, it's Izzet Phoenix. So we have this deck from Javier Dominguez's MPL League Weekend deck list, and I've just taken a couple of small changes, but otherwise his exact list from the weekend. And of course, Organized Play got blown up, but they're still going to keep playing out these League Weekends. So the least we can do is take a moment to look at one of the deck lists by Dominguez here. This is something that, of course, the whole community's been in an uproar about, but honestly affects me very little, so I won't comment much on it other than to say that it happened. But this deck has a really interesting choice of threats, and they've pretty much, Dominguez has pretty much just put everything in the deck as far as a secondary threat could be. So you have a plethora of things that might be able to take over the game for you, and I think that threat density is really the key to the deck. And it's got a really fast finishing clock if you can get a couple of Phoenix on the board, and then like maybe throw a Sprite Dragon together with them. It just really can add up in a very quick way for the opponent. Izzet Phoenix is really a burn deck at heart, so let's also take a look at some of the 1-drop spells that are in the deck. The deck is almost entirely made up of 1-drops, and really the only difference between this list and the Dominguez list from the weekend is that I've taken a couple of the lands, the 20th and 21st lands, and replaced them with Spikefield Hazard. And then otherwise you have your traditional burn elements like Shock, Pillar of Flame, creature removal in Lightning Axe, and of course Faithless Looting, which is the one that made this into a deck when this was released with the Strixhaven Mystical Archive last month in April. And Opt and Brainstorm to fill out the 1-drop slot. That is primarily, the deck is made up of 1-mana spells, and you want to be able to have 3 of those on turn 3 to bring back a Phoenix that you've discarded using Lightning Axe or usually Faithless Looting. You also have one of Strategic Planning, a pair of Young Pyromancer as one of the threats in the threat suite. Can be something that the opponent just uses early removal on most of the time, but if it does stick around, it gets to be pretty devastating because we're casting a lot of spells with the deck. Expressive Iteration is a super amazing card that was released with Strixhaven, and just the ability to look at the top 3 of your library, even if it is at sorcery speed, is such a huge deal and really gets us deeper into the deck. So an excellent cantrip, one that definitely helps us out, and usually want to avoid playing it on turn 2 if you can, because you'd like to be able to get a land drop with the Exiled card to be able to just keep building on your mana. But something that could be a nice maybe turn 4 play to bring back a Phoenix if you get like Expressive Iteration and a pair of 1-mana spells. So that's an interesting line with the deck. And then Sprite Dragon, of course, is the 2-mana threat of choice. You would really love to have this ideally on turn 3 maybe, or turn 4. So it does a similar type of thing to Arclight Phoenix, where it just kind of gets into the opponent's face quickly and can really start to add up if it hangs around for multiple turns, which it usually does not. Mystical Dispute is the only weapon the deck has against combo, and something like an Emergent Ultimatum or a Mizzix's Mastery could be a good target for this. And then Crackling Drake as a one of the 4 Arclight Phoenix that give the deck its name, and then a Stormwing Entity to round out the threat suite. As far as the lands go, only a pair of Fabled Passage, because the lands really want to come in untapped turns 1, 2, and 3. You want to be using that mana early on to get yourself set up, so a pair of these to shuffle away cards with Brainstorm is a smart idea, but it does make the mana a little bit worse. Of course, it's worth it. And then just the usual kind of Izzet lands that we're used to seeing. Spire Bluff Canal really shines in the deck because you want to have untapped dual sources early in the game. So a really great home for this one. Only a pair of River Glide and Lava Glide pathways because it just doesn't really work that well with the deck, and you want to have dual lands as much as possible because the deck is interested in having both blue and red mana at the same time. So that is the deck. That is Izzet Phoenix. For this week, we're featuring Javier Dominguez's League Weekend deck, and now we're going to take it into the Historic Ranked queue and see how it fares there. No, can't keep that, no blue. Yeah, this is fine. Put back one of the expressive iterations. Sorry for the camera being a little bit off this week. I'm purchasing a new one, but there's a bit of a flicker, if you couldn't notice. Alright, so turn 2, Young Pyromancer, into turn 3, Expressive Iteration. I'm playing against the combo deck that's Tainted Pact based. Either Grixis or Dimir. We'll see. Brainstorm on their turn 2. Alright, so bring it back to me. After they play Temple of Deceit and Scry to the bottom. Okay, so one Scry to the bottom. Alright, so that's interesting. I think I should lead on Expressive Iteration and just see what I hit. Alright, so Stormwing to hand, because I can't cast it at the moment. Bluff Canal to the bottom of the library, and then Faithful Saluting into exile so I can cast it with Steam Vents. Pay the life for Steam Vents. Faithful Saluting. Drop off the Steam Vents, drop off the... what? Well, I could get rid of both lands. I don't love that. I'd like to make my 4th land drop, so... keep one of the lands. Which one is an interesting question. I think ultimately it should probably be Steam Vents. Okay, no, the passage and drop off Young Pyro and Steam Vents. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so it's the Grixis version of the combo deck. Shimmer of Possibility. That's their turn 3 play. Bloodchief's Thirst on Young Pyro. Even though it's all one-ofs, there's so much redundancy. They always have it seems like. Alright, so Faithful Saluting. Drop off Fabled Passage. Drop off Spire Bluff Canal instead of Fabled Passage. And the entity too slow. Alright, so search up red mana. Spike Field their face. Doesn't actually matter though. We brought a knife to a gunfight. Oops. Sorry, historic format, you're ruined. Oh, it's not going to be a turn 4 kill, it's going to be a turn 5 kill? Okay. Seems fine. Push on Sprite Dragon. Basically spinning my wheels, doesn't matter here. Waiting to be the loser of this game. Take them down to 8. I mean, I could take them down to 8, but like, why? Why bother? Yeah, game over. Super fun. Alright, yeah, I can work with this. Faithful Saluting. Discard Unburial Rights. Discard Time Warp. So, combo. Mizzix's Mastery combo. With like Emergent Ultimatum and Scholar of the Lost Trove. I think LSV built this deck. I can't remember. who built it. The first I saw it from was LSV. Alright, so discard Expressive Iteration, discard Arclight Phoenix. And I think I have all the 1-mana spells that I need. It's just a question of land. So I can play Spikefield Hazard tapped on turn 2. I'm not going to need to. Okay. That's pretty good. Then just Sprite Dragon on turn 2 is the play, obviously. And see if they have some kind of removal for it. Usually they don't, right? Like, combo deck of this nature does not often run removal. Okay, well yeah, that's the one they could have. What's it gonna be into the yard? Scholar? You got a Scholar the Lost Trove? No, all runs Epiphany, Unburial Rites. Okay. So let's think. Probably just going to go for Phoenix here because the worst that they can do is Mizzix's Mastery for all runs Epiphany, make 2 burbs, and take an extra turn. That's like not that great. It's basically 2 birds and an extra draw step. So just going to go ahead and opt. Pretty much take care of the first 2 spells that way. Spike Field for the 3rd spell. And then here comes the Arclight Phoenix to get them down to 11. Alright, opponent, what do you got? This is your chance. This is your time to shine. You gonna make a couple of burbs? Make a couple of little burbs to block my big burb? Burb. Fable Passage, Brainstorm. Okay, so they're just going to take another turn to set up. That's perfect. Just keep setting up. Excellent. Love it. I love it. Discarding a couple of, putting a couple of things back on the top of the library, shuffling them away with Fable Passage, so it must have been bad cards or lands. Get a Swamp. Play a Fatal Saluting from the graveyard. But we have Mystical Dispute, so we should be good. Whatever they discard. Oh, there it is. Okay, so next turn is the one where we have to leave up our Mystical Dispute this turn. Okay. So now we're going to think about the best way to counter this. We want to make sure that they exile Immersion Ultimatum so it doesn't remain in their graveyard. If you just knee-jerk reaction and counter the Mizzix's Mastery, then you don't get the full benefit. So let them resolve the Mastery, let them exile the Ultimatum. I'm just going to Brainstorm in response to this Mastery, is all I'm going to do. Okay, so put back a couple of lands on top. Get an island. Now let this resolve. Wait for this. Yeah, now here's the thing you counter. So for 1 mana, take out the Ultimatum. It's a 1-for-7 trade. 1 mana on my end. 7. Well, I guess they only spent 4, but still. Alright, let's see what we can do next. Okay, Crackles is too slow. Put back a couple of lands. Can opt one of them away at least. Turn here, I'll just draw it to hand, it doesn't matter, right? They don't have anything else, like there's no way. Boy, another land. Okay, Sprite Dragon's pretty good. So have enough for Sprite Dragon and Fatal Saluting next turn. You don't even need to play a land, it can just see what happens. Alright, so they gain a little bit of life. They've got all 4 Unburial Rites in the yard and no Scholar. Perfect. Alright, smell you later. No. No blue mana. Only red. Yeah. Alright, has some good elements to it. Probably put back the Spike Field. Or maybe the Sprite Dragon. Yeah, let's put back Sprite Dragon. Get rid of the Phoenix, get rid of the Iteration. Or the island, maybe? Okay. Okay. Yeah, misplays galore here. Punts galore. It's just... punts are us here. Alright. Put the River Glide and the Steam Vents back on top of the library. Give us an opt to put one of these onto the bottom. Shock the face. Get the Phoenix. Alright, opponent's at 15. Faithless Looting. Flame exiles Arclight Phoenix. Start off with Expressive Iteration. Put the Phoenix in the hand. Gotta find a way to discard it. I guess the Faithless Looting from the graveyard will do. Put that back in the library. Pyro on the side can cast it right now. And then next turn, dump off the Phoenix with Faithless Looting and Spike Field Hazard. Alright, so Dora at the perfect pet here is a problem. Oh, and Shock. Alright. It's pretty good, opponent. It's pretty good. So, discard Arclight Phoenix, discard a land. Steam Vents will be fine. Alright, then put down the Fabled Passage. Play the Faithless Looting. Don't draw the shock that I need. Discard Spike Field Hazard, Inspired Bluff Canal. Brainstorm. Still no burn. Put back the Drake, put back a Phoenix. Alright, hit the opponent for 3 down to 12. Opponent plays Opt. Sprite Dragon getting huge, getting swole. Oh, come on. Alright. Double Phoenix, take 11. Okay, Double Phoenix, take 8, down to 10. This is not going to be enough. I drew all 4 Phoenix and it's just not enough. I think I should have held onto that Sprite Dragon and I played the whole beginning of the game wrong. And very inefficiently. So maybe it was winnable, but maybe not. Mostly I just punted, I think. I will never know if it was winnable because I just punted so hard and needed to keep that lightning axe in hand instead of that opt as well. Alright, so dead to removal. One shock. The second shock. And a third one for good measure. Feels bad. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. No way to discard yet, but I'll probably draw a discard outlet. I'll probably draw Faithful Looting or something. I think we can handle it. Okay, wow. Do you want to keep it or mull it, or you want to make it a decision maybe, opponent? Opponent is busy doing other things. Do you ever wonder what people are doing, you know? A little glimpse into their world. Alright, come on. Don't rope. Don't pre-mulligan rope. Okay, thank you. Alright, so opponent pays the life for Overgrown Tomb and Thoughtseize target me. Okay, I feel like that was the wrong choice by the opponent. I think they should have taken Stormwing Entity there. Alright, so that's my turn one, is just Spire Bluff Canal into nothing. Opponent has Faithless Looting and discards what? Some kind of Jund Faithless Looting deck. Discards a Spawn of Mayhem and a Forest? Okay. I mean, those are legal discards. Those are both legal cards. I don't know what you're doing though. Play Fable Passage, pass the turn. Thoughtseize me again this time. Takes Young PZ. Bone Crusher. Alright, I'm gonna hold on to Lightning Axe and just use it to trigger the Stormwing Entity's ability so I can get a Stormwing for 2. Okay, so Spire Bluff. Lightning Axe. Discard the Phoenix. Play the Entity. Set up the draw step here to get some good stuff. Okay, yeah, so Steam Vents to the bottom. Make sure that Iteration can hit some unknown cards. Boy, I'd really love to hit a Faithless Looting off this Iteration. That would really be ideal. Kick Thirst on the Stormwing. Play Expressive Iteration. Nice. Wow, okay. So put this in hand. And Sulfur falls back onto the top of the library. Or sorry, at the bottom rather of the library. Play out the River Glide. First do the looting to get rid of the Phoenix and a Mountain. Then Brainstorm as the third spell. Get back the double Phoenix. Put the Sulfur Falls and the Crackling Drake on top. Make sure Sulfur Falls is on the top, I think. Very, very nice. Double Phoenix is very nice. Burb is the word here. Down to 8. Death Shadow for the opponent. So it's some kind of Jund Shadow build. Very original, very nice. Alright, and that's lethal. Take it downtown. And I'm back with Izzet Phoenix. So the deck performed admirably at 2-2, and I think that's a very good indicator of what you can expect with this deck. It's a 50% deck against a lot of the format, but if you do end up in a game against combo, like either Tainted Pact or the various versions of Emergent Ultimatum combo, whether it's Mizzix's Mastery or just the straight ramp version, which is definitely still around, I think the one thing that you can enjoy about the deck, and we didn't see it here, but I have enjoyed playing against control decks generally, the Wrath of God decks that want to be able to keep you off the board. They really don't like the recursive threat with Arclight Phoenix, being able to bring that back over and over and over again without them really having much of an answer outside of like maybe Rest in Peace or something, because obviously you know, like maybe a Grafdigger's Cage or something, they can exile it with like that kind of stuff, Soul Guide Lantern. But all that type of stuff is pretty rare in the control decks generally, so having the recursive nature of Arclight Phoenix, just getting it back, is really fantastic against the Wrath of God Teferi decks. So that's one aspect of the deck that I think is worth noting. And then, you know, just generally in the best of one meta, you're going to find a lot of success with this because it can get opponents pretty quickly and can get them out of nowhere. You know, damage from Storming Entity, damage from Sprite Dragon can really add up. And ultimately, if you're coming in at that last turn with like a, you know, 6 extra power from Arclight Phoenix or something, it's just really devastating and can get people from practically nowhere. Can have a lot of reach with the Izzet Phoenix deck. So I think it's a fun choice. I think it's a good choice for the moment and can really get under combo decks. Some changes that you might want to consider, you know, maybe you want to run more Mystical Dispute, or maybe just other ways to interact with combo, because the historic format is really overtaken by combo right now, and I think you're going to see in the next day or two, perhaps Monday the 17th, or maybe, you know, the following week, but at some point there's going to be a ban of Tainted Pact and Thassa's Oracle, and I think they're going to have to ban both of them, honestly. If they get one and not the other, it might be a bit tricky, because if they take Thassa's Oracle, then the whole aspect will just like switch to be a Jace deck, because Jace has the same ability more or less. You just have to physically draw all the cards and then have Jace out. But I think either Thassa's Oracle or Tainted Pact would be tough. I think you want to get both of them. Or maybe they just straight up take out Tainted Pact. I don't know. We'll see. But then Thassa's Oracle is just going to be kind of around and a problem. But yeah, maybe just Tainted Pact. We'll have to find out what happens when they do drop the ban hammer, but I think it's going to happen based on the metagame from the League weekend. The historic results were like 50% Tainted Pact combo, whether it was Dimir or Grixis, but that's just not a tenable position for the format. So, you know, Mystical Archive did have a lot of powerful instants and sorceries in it, so was bound to have maybe one that was a bit problematic this time in Tainted Pact. So we'll see. I'm guessing it's a double ban with Thassa's Oracle and Tainted Pact, but maybe just Pact or maybe just Oracle, to find out. Alright, so that's going to do it for this week's Historic Weekly feature. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again next week. This is Evil Empire, signing off.